The loveliness of Paris seems somehow sadly gay. The glory that was Rome is of another day. I've been terribly alone and forgotten in Manhattan. I'm going home to my city by the bay. I left my heart in San Francisco. High on a hill, it calls to me to be where little kids.
Hey, welcome everybody. Good morning to you. We're here today to honor two Western Addition hydrants that had an extraordinary water supply during the 1906 Great Earthquake and Fire. This honor is long overdue. There had always been a rumor that a Western Addition hydrant had water, but no one knew which one. Last year, the Guardians of the City put together a research program to find out which one it was. During the 3 days of the fire in 1906, 23 hydrants out of 4,213 had a useful water supply. It was discovered that two hydrants, the one here at Hayes and Buchanan and at Ellis and Van Ness Avenue, had an extraordinary water supply. These two hydrants allowed the engine companies to stop and extinguish the advancing fire. It saved the Western Addition and more than likely the western half of San Francisco from total destruction. To honor these two hydrants today, we're going to paint them silver, and from this day forward, they shall be known as the Silver Twins. Thank you. It's my privilege and honor to introduce my boss, the Chief of the San Francisco Fire Department, Joanne Hayes-White.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out to commemorate and celebrate with us. Thank you to Bill Koenig. I had the privilege of working with Bill when I first came into the department in 1990. As a native San Franciscan, like many of us here, including our police chief and our district supervisor, Harlan, I think you're Fresno. Okay, close enough. But anyways, we're here today to celebrate our history. I'm a big fan of San Francisco history, and I want to take my hat off to the Guardians of the City. They're a group that is putting together and making sure we preserve our San Francisco public safety history. Both the police department, the fire department, and emergency medical services. They're doing a great job, and they actually did the research when someone said, when we paint the golden hydrant golden up at 20th and Church, well, what about the Western Addition? We heard there was a hydrant that also saved great parts of that area, and so that's what we're here doing today. It is a celebration of our history, literally rising from the ashes after 1906. It was the earthquake that caused the devastation, but really the fires that raged for 3 days that were problematic for those of us that our forefathers that fought the fires back in 1906. So it also is a perfect week to remember about preparedness. I'm getting ready to join the Department of Emergency Management to talk about the preparedness piece. The more all of us are encouraged to participate and to prepare, the better citizens we are, and the better all of our public safety agencies will be in the response phase, and then the most important phase, the recovery of our beautiful city. So, okay, thanks for everyone coming out, and I'm going to hand it back over to Bill Koenig for the, if everyone wants to get an opportunity to spray the hydrant. Thank you again, and remember, the more we can prepare today, the better off all of us will be down the line. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Let's talk about Doc Bullock first, because he's responsible for getting this hydrant painted gold. And in 1969, he approached Mayor Alioto because he knew that this hydrant had an extraordinary stream of water and what it did. And he used to come out actually about this time to paint it in the dark. And he was painting this himself for about 2 or 3 years. And at the time, Evan White was working Channel 7 and started to think about who's painting this hydrant out here. I got to follow and find that guy. And Doc liked to label it being the Phantom because nobody knew who was painting this until Evan White disclosed who it was and put him on the air. And it's become a public event ever since. So that's how this got started as far as making the hydrant gold here. But it's always, as always, my honor and my pleasure to introduce Chief of the San Francisco Fire Department, Joanne Hayes White.
Thank you, Bill. Good morning. I had the privilege of working with Bill when I first came into the fire department in 1990. We worked together at Station 10 on Presidio and Bush. So thank you to Bill and to the Guardians of the City for preserving our history. And that's what today is about this morning. We just left Lotta's Fountain, and we think about what happened 108 years ago. As I said at Lotta's Fountain, it's really inspiring to see the number of people that are here to preserve a very important part of our city's history. We obviously think about those that suffered great loss back in 1906, but we celebrate our city's rich history and the resiliency to rebuild our city. And always we want to take the opportunity to remind everyone how important it is to be prepared and to have a plan, to talk to your children, to talk to elder family members, to talk to your people in your workplace about the importance of being prepared. It's, as a community member, it's a big part of what you should do to be a contributing member of our community. We have lots of people here. I want to thank the men and women of the San Francisco Fire Department. As I said, the Guardians of the City. We have your local firehouse here, Engine 11. Thank you to Engine 11. Thank you for the great work that you do. Typically, everyone will get a chance to spray, and when you're spraying, if you want to dedicate it to someone, I'll do the first one, and I want to dedicate this to one of my predecessors, a real visionary, and that was the Chief of Department in 1906, was Chief Dennis Sullivan. And if you read about his history, he was a great man. He warned about the potential for great fires to follow an earthquake. So in his honor, in his memory, he succumbed to injuries that he sustained in the 1906 fire. 3 days later, I believe he died on April 21st, 1906. So this is for Chief Dennis Sullivan. Thank you, and I appreciate all of you coming out.
Hey, so the painting order. All children first, please. Come on up here. Line of children first. All first responders from San Francisco will be second. All first responders from other agencies who wish they worked in San Francisco will be next. Followed by San Francisco natives, followed by all those who wish they were San Francisco natives.
Birthday today is 8th.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Aiden. Happy birthday to you.
I'm going to do a live painting of the hydrant. This is going on at the top of Dolores Park right now. All part of the commemoration of the 1906 earthquake. This is something that they have been doing every year, and each spray is in commemoration of one of the people who survived the earthquake. I am doing this in honor of all of them. Okay, and I'm not very good at this. Again, this is a first, everybody. Very glad to be present.
When the lights go down in the city and the sun shines on the bay.
This hydrant here, it was either engine 19 or 27. They made a hose lead down 20th to Mission Street where the fire was stopped, a distance of 2,200 feet. The engine companies were put in relay, and that stopped the fire from going into the Mission District. So because of the water supply from this hydrant is the reason that the Mission District, the remaining part of it to the south, was not burned.
I wanna get back to
Hi, good morning. I'd like to dedicate this to some of the firefighters that we lost this year. When we go into fires, we're exposed to a lot of chemicals and a lot of carcinogens, so I'd like to dedicate this to Lieutenant John Murphy, firefighter Clyde Watereye, and Lieutenant Dan Armenta.
This is for the Downey brothers, but also for Leo Sapienza and his daughter Taryn, who carried this thing on all these years and introduced me to San Francisco, which up to that point I always thought was just North Beach. Then I realized what San Francisco was when I got to do this in 1989.
Welcome to the club, Rick. Here's the chairman, the president of the Guardians of the City, retired Battalion Chief Jim Lee.
Morning, everybody. I'd just like to say a few words to our first responders, our police officers, firefighters, medical staff, NERD, and the Sheriff's Department, who have all come together under the banner of Guardians of the City. And I'd also like to remember my training officer, Chuck Lee, who passed away last week.
Everybody come and paint? Okay, here you go. You're dedicating?
I'm going to dedicate spraying to the victims of the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake.
Thank you. And we have some future people waiting to get into the fire department, Chief. They kind of interviewed with me this morning, and I can recommend them. So, you know, people that are involved in history and want to get them in.
All right.
Okay. So you heard it. You heard it. I heard the chief respond.
Alone and forgotten in Manhattan, I'm going home to my city by the bay. I left my heart in San Francisco.
How about the men and women from Station 11? Come on over. Come on, get your spray.
High on a hill, it calls to me to be where little cable cars climb halfway to the stars.
I dedicate this every year to the same person, my grandmother. My grandmother used to always tell me she was a survivor of the earthquake, lived in Golden Gate Park for a few weeks after it, and she always said my room was messier than the camp in Golden Gate Park.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
Thank you, Bill.
Pleasure.
In San Francisco, above the blue and windy sea, when I come home to you, San Francisco, your golden sun will shine.
This is an important part of our history. Have a great day, everyone.
I am called to duty, God, whenever flames may rage. Please give me strength to save a life, whatever be its age. Help me embrace a little child before it is too late, or save an older person from the horror of that fate. Enable me to be alert to hear the weakest shout and quickly and efficiently put the fire out. I want to fill my calling and to give the best in me to guard my every neighbor, to protect their property. And if according to my fate I am to lose my life, please bless with your protecting hand my children and my wife.